Cut it out, Bo. Go downstairs. Go. I'll be down in a minute.
You know how it is, like starting up. It's hard as shit.
Whether they're good, bad, or ugly, getting the message out there that people aren't just like these superstars or shitbags. Like, there's a point behind everybody what they're doing. A fucking moron.
What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Benny and the Guest. Obviously, me, Ben. Today, my guest here is a Mr. Chris from Beverage. Okay, he is actually the founder of it. It's this awesome drink that we kind of dive down that a little later. But right now, Chris, thank you for coming on the show. First of
Mate,
all,
thank you. G'day. Yeah, it's we've been planning this for a little while, so it's good to finally get on and get it done.
yeah, it's been. We were finagling stuff, trying to make it work, and finally we got it together, and we're here.
Yeah.
Chris was kind enough. He actually, before we go down the rabbit hole, Chris is an honorable dude because without knowing a lot about me and me knowing a lot about him, we linked up and kind of talked. And it was cool, but he even sent me his drink to try it out and stuff. And unfortunately, I was not able to save it that long because it was so dang good. We'll go into that later, but that was a really personal touch that I really found respect about you, Chris. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I think I come from a background of hospitality, right? So service is everything, and if I can do one small thing, and it really is. I mean, you can see it behind my head here. It's not big. It's easy to ship. It's super tasty, and you get to understand what it tastes like versus just me, telling you about it. So, mate, of course, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm sure one of those stickers is probably on a Yeti somewhere.
It's actually right behind the screen right here on here, and then it's on. I got one there and one on my my water bottle, man. And everybody sees it and they're like, "What is that little koala holding?" I'm like, "Are you? Let me tell you."
Yeah, let me tell you, it's an immediate conversation starter. That's for sure.
Absolutely. To start the conversation, Chris, tell me a little about where you're from, how you kind of grew up a bit, and obviously we can get to kind of the point of, I believe you said you're Australian, right?
Sure am. Yep.
But now you live, I understand, here in the States. So if we could work from, back then to then, that'd be really interesting to hear.
Sure. Yeah. So grew up in Australia. Did a little bit of both the city and the country, right? So I've sort of got both components of that sort of raising, if you will. The one where I like some cool stuff, and then, but also grew up in the bush, right? Running around the dirt patch and, chasing cows and chickens and all that good sort of stuff. So I got a nice sort of balance there, I think. Started working at probably, in Australia, it's 14 and 9 months, right? So that's the earliest that you can go in legally and get a job. So started working immediately in hospitality and never left, right? So I'm born and raised Melbourne, Australia. It is sort of, other than Tasmania, it's probably the southernmost point. I always like to joke with Americans, the next continent is Antarctica. So, it can be a little bit wet, it can be a little bit cold, but it's a beautiful place. I love my home. I moved to the UK for a little while. My mother's originally from the UK. So I've got a British passport, made doing some travel really easy. Spent a couple of years in the UK working for Gordon Ramsey and, living the lifestyle. Which was awesome. He's the nicest dude you could ever think of. He's striving for perfection, especially back then. I mean, I just turned 40, so that's, 19, 18 years ago now. He was deep in the thick of,
building his empire, essentially.
Right. So, came
Can
back
you
home.
Sorry, can you tell me just a little? You don't have to dive too deep into that because this
Sure.
story's not about Gordon Ramsay. But can you tell me what that was like for you? Like, what did you do for him, and
Yeah,
What
yeah, yeah.
obviously you said he was great to work with, but was that a great experience for you? You loved it, or how'd it go?
Yeah, so when I moved to the UK, I was already starting to fall out of love with hospitality, and I kind of was trying to work out if I was going to stay in it, keep going, maybe find something else to do. When you turn 21, right, you sort of, you're not 100% sure what you're doing with your life. And when I started working for him, it put all the love back into me for hospitality. It was the food, the passion, the level of service, the dedication to detail, the knowledge, the understanding of your clientele. Like it was the whole thing. And I just remember sitting there going, this is what I've always been looking for. Like I've done some nice restaurants and whatever else, but this is this is what I really love. So were there? I mean, so and let's just be clear. I come from an era in hospitality where the beatings were still there, the throwing, the yelling, the shouting, the name calling, there was no workers' rights or union or I'm the era of violence in a kitchen, right? So
Yeah.
and I don't care, right? That's what I grew up with. I love it. It's not right for today anymore, but it put all that passion and fire and desire to stay in that service, hospitality, food, beverage world for the rest of my foreseeable future, for sure.
Man, that I like the sound of this kind of like there's a thing in a lot of businesses, I think I'm in the military in different aspects of jobs, there seems to be a giant shift lately of people were a little rougher about 20, 20, 30 years ago, definitely.
Sure.
And then even 10 years ago, you still got away with it a little bit. And now it's not that way. I'm sure it's better now. I'm sure it is. But something came out of that, don't you think? That pressure,
Of
pressure makes
course.
diamonds.
Yeah.
It had to be something where, because I know I do well when people are on my ass about stuff. Because I grew up with that as a kid, and then later
Mhm.
on, like a little bit. When people are up your ass about stuff, like get this done now, or you're getting messed with. Like you work harder, like you do.
Yeah.
Maybe you got a little bit going on, and you got to sort that out at some point. But you work hard.
It's to
Do
me,
you agree? Or
it's accountability, right? In your role. Like you have a team, you are not the sole purpose. And when everyone's striving towards and you're that weak link, I'm going to chew you the fuck out. Like you are not doing your job and you are making the rest of us look bad. And that's what that was. And I think we pendulum swung too far the opposite direction
yeah,
where, I mean, I don't really dine out here in Georgia anymore because the service sucks.
hmm
It really does. Right. So I think we need to come back a little bit, right? We don't need to be as sensitive. We don't need to, worry about every feeling being hurt. Like we've got a job to do and you're being paid to do the job. So do it. Right. But yeah, I'm the same, right? Being held accountable truly made you a better person. For sure. For sure.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. I love that. That's a crazy little. I didn't even know that about you. That's a
Yeah.
crazy little side quest you went on there.
Little side quest. So went back to Australia, um, got a girlfriend, sort of started doing some higher end restaurants, right? Because I just come from the UK doing those high end Michelin restaurants. In Australia, they're called hatted restaurants. So ended up working for a restaurant called Taxi Dining Room, Two Hats, gorgeous restaurant, overlooked the whole city. And that company alone, I was with them for maybe 6 or 7 years. Um, I would say probably 6 years on in different restaurants that they own, doing different roles, management, supervisor, ended up being a GM. moving around and doing stuff. And then my sort of time had come to an end with that company, not in a bad way. I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I worked with and for at the same time. But it was just time, right? It was just, you know what? Time to move on, time to see something else, do something else. I actually ended up going into, I stayed with hospitality, but I ended up teaching hospitality. So went into a government sort of style course arena, um, would teach management, leadership qualities, waiting tables, base level hospitality, that sort of thing, for a lot of people that were coming in from outside of the country. So a lot of Asians, Indians were really getting into the industry, and I could teach them. And
Is this like a crash course that you're given? Like, is it like led through the company you work for, or is it like, yeah, okay.
yeah, so it's led through the
And you,
company that we worked for.
yeah.
It was 3 months long. So whatever group I had, you spent 3 months with them, and you really gave them everything, right? Because
Yeah.
we want them to pop out the other side, and they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be me. They're not going to be some lifer in hospitality that knows what they're doing, but they're going to have a really good base. So did that for a little while. Lived with a friend of mine. Everything was going well, and then I turned 29, and I went out with friends, had an amazing time, had a great birthday, but woke up the next morning and was like, what do I regret? It's like, what's the one thing in my life? I said, I'm almost out of my 20s now. What's the one thing in my life I regret? And my biggest regret was having never gone to work on super yachts in Europe. I'd always wanted to do it, thought it sounded cool, had the British passport, had all the service hospitality background. So my birthday is February 12th. February 20th, I think I made the decision. By June 1st, I had quit both my jobs, sold my car, sold basically the rest of my possessions, moved out of the house, put anything I really wanted to keep at my mother's place, packed a bag, had a bank account, and left.
Yeah.
Just got on a plane, one-way ticket, didn't even book a return ticket, and just landed in um, landed in London first and stayed with a friend for a week while I got climatized, and then went down to Nice, France. Ended up in a hostel there. Started looking for a job. Like, why not? Let's just how long can I make this money stretch? And I didn't have much either. I had maybe, I don't know, $6,000 Australian. So converting that to euros, even worse, right? That was
Yeah.
just that's the exchange rate was horrible then. It's still horrible now, but it was horrible then. And yeah, started applying for roles, right? Doing some day work on super yachts
Oh
and
my
working
god.
and trying to get anyone to hire
In
me.
Nice, France, right?
Right. And I'm in Nice, France, and I would take the train from Nice over to Monaco
Mm-hmm.
and do day work, right? Get paid a couple of €100 to do the worst, shittiest jobs on the boat, right? So, but who cared? Because I wanted a job. I know I wanted to get on a boat.
You're getting after it though. You're
Right.
working at your dream. Like you're like, this is what I wanted to do in my life. Like I'm getting there.
Right.
Cause even if you're not in the kitchen, you're still on a super yacht doing like people dream about that stuff. You know, they have
100%.
shows. What's that? This stupid one, Vanderpump, or whatever.
Oh, no, you're
That-
talking about
Or the not that's the
the
kitchen
super.
one.
There is a super yacht show.
You know what I mean? Those
Yeah.
the people watch that and they go, "Oh, I can't imagine. You know, it must be amazing." And they watch these people's lives. You're living that in France.
Right.
That is so freaking cool.
Right. So I did an event on a boat. There was a whole bunch of other captains there. Um, the next day, I got a phone call from one of the captains that had been there, and he goes, I've specifically been asked by my owners to have a male service stew. which is rare, right? It's not normally males on the interior, it's usually females. And he goes, "You've got all the hospitality experience I'm looking for. Can you come and have a chat?" Met the boat. So met the guys back in Monaco. Basically sat down with him and he's like, "Chris, this is everything. You're exactly what I'm looking for. When can you start?" I was like, "Tomorrow? Now? Let me pack a bag. Just let me get my stuff." So we went from Monaco over to a boat port called Genoa. It's in Italy. It's not really a cool Italian town. It's quite genuinely a blip on the map, and it's just for boats to enter and exit and do the paperwork. That's all it is.
Oh, okay.
So met the crew there. The boat went from there over to, where did it go from there? Sorrento, Italy. So down the Amalfi coast. I spent a year and a half with that boat, living on the boat, touring the Amalfi coast, all the way up Italy, across France, into Spain, Ibiza, Formentera Islands, Palma, Majorca, just living my best life. And then a really good friend of mine, he was on another super yacht, and he and I had worked together. He was a chef, and obviously I was front of house. And he called me up and he goes, "Hey, we've got a spot open, and my captain wants you. Can you come?" My contract ended with the other yacht, and I was like, "Yep, I'm out of here." So went from Palma, Majorca back to Monaco, got myself a pay rise, and then I got onto a charter boat. So there's different boats, private and charter.
Yeah.
Charter boats, someone like you can rent it, right? You've just got to
Okay.
have the money to do it. But the great thing is the cash tips.
Oh, okay.
So
What is it? Oh, because they're doing a charter, so they're renting it specifically for something, right? Like something
specifically for their
special.
holiday.
Yeah.
So the rule is, right, you get your salary. I was on, I don't know, 4,500 euros a month. But after the
4,500
charter,
a month.
yeah.
Like that's pretty good.
So
And you're living there,
and
right?
here's the other thing: it's tax free.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
and you have your rent paid for and food, I imagine, already?
food, medical, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's
Oh,
paid for.
yeah.
Everything's paid for, right? So 4,500, you got no expenses,
You're chilling.
and it's amazing, and it's tax
That's
free, right?
incredible.
Because you
Yeah.
get paid into an offshore bank account. So, and you're on the water, so no country owns the water, so no government can take your money because you're on the water,
Right.
right?
Even with the charter.
Even with the charter, yeah. So the charter, come on, we go out a certain distance because then you enter international waters and then you just come back tax free. Awesome. One of my favorite clients that we had, he'd come on for a month, right? Cost him about $1 million for his holiday. Now, this is a billionaire. So to him, it would be like you and I spending a couple of grand in Vegas for a weekend, right? This is the money difference.
Yeah.
And he left us a tip each. So there's 9 of us that were working. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9. So 9 of us were working on this boat. We each made 9,000 euros in cash for the month. And I remember just looking
I
at
got to
it in
figure
my
out this
hand going,
hospitality thing. Oh, my gosh.
this is just lovely. You've earned it, right? You've worked hard for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have no worries. Like, imagine never having a financial worry.
Couldn't be me.
Right.
Yeah. That's
So,
crazy. But
did super yachts?
okay, I got a couple questions. Sorry
Sure,
if
sure.
that's okay. Yeah. Number one, did that get lonely though? Because you have your crew. Obviously, I imagine you get close with crew members,
Sure.
but you're meeting new people all the time. You don't really get to. I'm sure there's not a lot of vacation. Uh, is that lonely, like doing that kind of lifestyle, or is it
No,
appealing to you?
because it's like any other industry, right? The same sort of boats are all in the same sort of areas. So you end up developing friendships anyway. And then the boat that we had was only a summer boat. So we ran from March to October. So anything after October, I mean, we stayed with the boat, and we kept it clean, and our owner was based in the UK, so we would go do some stuff for him at his estate, and whatever else. But you can easily take 8 weeks off because
Oh, dang.
nothing's going on,
Yeah.
right? So you may as well just take the money you've got, book a really nice plane ticket home, and then you spend 8 weeks with family and friends, and then
And you
you
got a
go
big
back.
pocket of cash to go home with, like to your family and stuff that you can actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
So,
that's a
and you've
good
got to
look.
remember, I made this decision, right? I
True.
chose to go and do this. I had debts I needed to pay off. I paid all of them off. I had 100 grand in debt, and I paid it off in under a year. And you
Dang.
don't feel lonely when everything's really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you're making the payments, when you're doing good, when you're having fun, you're like,
Yeah,
well,
when
that's
you're
great.
making when you're doing everything, and then you're working hard at the same time, because that's the other thing. I genuinely believe a lot of our problems today come from we don't have to work as hard as we used to. Because when you work hard, you you on the other side of that, you receive a sense of accomplishment. So we would do these 4-day events on the boat in Monaco for the F1, right? It's coming up this weekend. They're there right now. We would do huge parties for them. And I mean, you wouldn't sleep, right? You would get 3-4 hours a night sleep. But on the other side of it, right, you come out and everyone's like, we just did that. And it's a real camaraderie. It's a real come together. You all get a boatload of cash. The captain takes you out. You all pop bottles of champagne, and you are eating caviar, like literally eating caviar, and just celebrating, right?
Yeah.
And you're so happy at the job that you've done, at how hard you worked and how well you executed. You don't have a time to feel bad. You really don't.
That sounds wonderful. Now here's the follow-up, I guess. Do you get tired of it? Which sounds like a ridiculous question to ask because you just described being at F1 popping champagne. But do you get tired of it at all?
I wouldn't say I got tired. I would say I didn't get tired of the super yachts and the work and whatever else. I think what I got tired of was dealing with some of the people. And it wasn't everybody, but occasionally you would get someone that would just grind on your nerves, right? And they're paying you, right? This is their holiday, so
Oh, is it the customer? You mean the
yeah,
customer that would really, yeah.
right. And you
I was
can't get
wondering
away
about
with
that.
them. You can't get away from them, right? It's not like a restaurant where they leave after 2 hours and see you later. You're looking after this person for the next 10 days. So
Oh, man.
yeah, when you say, do you get over it or anything along those lines? Not really. My thing was, I'd spent a year and a half on that boat, loved it. Uh, and a very good friend of mine in Australia, she connected my wife and I together online. We weren't dating or anything, but one thing led to another. We started talking online, and we didn't stop, right? So at some point, we were sort of like, well, what are we doing here, right? Are we doing something or are we not? And she's like, look, I have to stay in America. I've got kids from previous marriage, but would you come here? Running on that same theme of no regrets. I was like, sure. Packed everything up, finished out my contract, booked a one-way ticket to America. I'd never been here. I
Damn.
had genuinely had never set foot in the country. Got a visa, And the first place I landed was Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, because I was
That's only funny to me because I imagine it's insane that you've traveled the world like that with, in Western Europe and then Australia, and your first take of America is Georgia.
it's Georgia, right?
It's
It's
not
not
a bad
LA,
place. It's
it's
not bad.
not New York,
Yeah, yeah. Georgia.
it's Georgia, right? It's the
It,
Bible Belt.
and it's not like it's a bad place or anything. It's just such a odd place to like have your initial
It's not the first place
entry.
most people land, right?
No,
It's
no.
you know,
It's so
but
weird.
again, it was all about not having regrets.
Yes.
Well, what happens? And people would say, what happens if you get there and it doesn't work out? Then I've got a cool story. I get on a plane and I go somewhere else, right? I've now got a bank account full of cash because I kept saving, right? I didn't spend everything. So I've saved
No.
up a whole bunch of cash, um, had cash from tips, right? So that's kind of what I use as my spending money and save my salary. And I was like, I'd prefer to, have the story. Yeah, flew to America. Wow, that was a bad idea. That girl was no way. Or do I want to sit on the porch at the end of, I'm 90 and going, I wonder what happened to that girl? Nah, just get on the plane. Like, just, you got nothing to lose. Landed in America. That was, what are we in now? 2025. So coming up on 8 years.
Oh. You're obviously doing good.
Apparently, yeah. The girlfriend
Yeah.
became the wife, and I'm still in Georgia for now, and you know, got my green card and worked a couple of jobs, and now I own Mate. So anything's possible if you run with the what's the worst that could happen? You'll be surprised where you can end up.
That is like such a good attitude, though. That's probably the hardest part is having that attitude. I myself included. Starting this type of thing, doing a bunch of stuff. It's hard to tell yourself, I'm gonna make it. Like I'm gonna make it in this, and if not, whatever. Like as you get older, I think especially it's a lot harder with kids, responsibilities, a wife, and stuff.
Sure.
Would you say that affects you more now, or you've kept that mentality pretty good?
Um, I would say it needs to be more controlled in that manner. Um, it's because there's other people to think about, but at the same time, I'm not afraid of risk. I'm not afraid of failure. And my wife has an amazing job. She's corporate America. She loves it. That's what she loves. So it I can go off and run around and do all those sort of things, and she can stay very centered and grounded in her, stable job, stable life, stable fitness, stable like everything over there. So, I mean, I would say no because, I came up with the idea for Mate over pizza and beer with my wife, and 5 minutes later, I started doing the drawings and the renderings for the labels and was searching how to make a canned drink. So, I just got started, right? It was just get moving.
I think that is the biggest advice you can give to people, anyone, whether they want to start a business, a show, anything that requires effort, right? That is scary to jump into. That's for sure. Just go. Just do something, whether it sucks or whether it's a half-ass thing. Just dive in because you will find a rhythm eventually. You're gonna have trial and error, obviously, but that's
Sure.
life with everything. That is one of the best mentalities to go into.
Yeah, I think
Tell
we as people will talk ourselves out of it. And it gets bigger
Yes.
and scarier the longer you take. The longer you think about it, the longer you weigh out the pros and the cons and the ups and the downs and can I and should I and will I and won't I. Stop. Stop. Just start. Just take the first step. It's not going to be perfect, but who cares? You're still doing something, right? And who knows what's going to pop out the other side, right? So Just start. Just go. Just go.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Let's dive into that a little bit. So you're over here, you're working and stuff, and you meet your girlfriend and come to be wife. What gets you going with this mate thing? Was it part of your business or part of your what you were doing, or how'd
Yeah.
it go?
So I worked in restaurants. Was a GM for a restaurant here. And when I first moved here, I kept sitting here going, "There's something missing. I don't know what's here. I don't know what's missing, but something's missing." And my girlfriend, wife now, would say, "This is America. You're being an idiot. Like we've got everything. This is America. We've got all of it." And and I realized here in Georgia, I know it's in Texas and I think Illinois has got some, and a couple other states, but drive-through liquor stores. So in Australia, we have drive-through liquor stores, and I kept thinking Americans love to stay in their cars, right? You'll sit in a Starbucks line for 15 minutes instead of just parking for a minute, going in for 3 minutes, and then leaving, right? You'll stay in your car. You love it. You love it. So I was like, well, maybe a drive-through liquor store would work. I think it would work. So I get through COVID. I realize I'm kind of done with, working for somebody else. So I start the process of opening a drive-through liquor store. Long and short of it is I get 4 weeks to opening, and the state gave me a phone call and said, "We've made a mistake with your paperwork. You can't open a liquor store there. You have to pull out." And I went, "Are you 100% sure? Because I'm about to lose 5 figures, mid 5 figures. Like this is a house payment I'm about to lose because you guys made a mistake." And the guy was like, "Look, I'm sorry, because I don't know what to tell you." So I pull out, sell everything, break the lease, send everything back that I can,
Yeah,
sell a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace,
liquidate everything basically, right? As much as you
as
can.
much as I could.
Man,
And I remember I had a spreadsheet, and I remember inputting the final numbers and the number coming out at the bottom. And I don't really cry, right? It's not because I don't think men should. It's just I don't really do it, right? I'm more of a, okay, this is a problem, let's get moving, right?
yeah,
Rather than being emotional about something.
yeah.
And I had a cry. It was like for about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, I was sitting on the couch and I just fell back and I just had a cry. And then my problem solving brain clicked in. I was like, okay, you didn't lose your house, right? You didn't lose all your money. You just lost a little bit, right? And it sucks, but you're going to work out the next thing. So the wife comes home and she goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine." I said, "I'm not super happy. So if I make you happy, I'll be happy." So there's a Midwestern pizza called taco pizza that she loves.
It's
She's
so
from
good.
Iowa. I
It's so
love it.
good. Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
There's a place 10 minutes from our house. They're called Generations Pizza. They're a Quad Cities, originally from the Quad City. And they brought taco pizza to Georgia.
Hell yeah.
So we go there. We get the cheese sticks. Again, Midwestern thing. Cheese sticks, taco pizza. She's drinking Miller Lite. I'm drinking Corona. Awesome, right? Things are good again. The soul's happy. We're smiling and laughing and whatever else.
That sounds like a great date. Yeah.
It's a great day, mate. We still do it now.
Yeah.
And she sits there and goes, "What do you want to do? Right? What do you want to do?" Everything's back on the table now. We got money in the bank. what do you want to do? And a friend of mine owned a brewery at the time. I was like, I kind of want to bring my favorite beer from Australia over. But craft beer is sort of craft beer goes in waves, right? And it's currently on its downward spiral, is what it is. It'll come back at some time, I'm sure. And I was like, well, I wouldn't mind doing an RTD, right? Because I'm sick and tired of all these carbonated options. Because I turned, I'm in my mid 30s and I suffer from heartburn if I drink too many bubbles now. Who knew that happened?
What's an
And
RTD though?
huh?
What's an RTD?
So ready to drink. So it's a
Like can.
high noon, Cutwater.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cocktail that is considered ready to drink out of a can.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but how do I stand out? I said, I can't take on these big guys, right? I don't have millions and millions of dollars at my disposal. I've got a couple of $100,000. And so we keep talking. We have another couple of beers, keep enjoying the pizza. And, you mull over the idea. And my wife turns around to me and she goes, so she'd just gotten big into her fitness journey, big into Peloton, really discovered running, right? Really discovered she really liked running. So everything was protein related. And she's like, everything we eat, she's like, you walk around Walmart and Target, has protein in it. Everything's got added protein. Why doesn't our alcohol? We drink the most of it in a single sitting. It's not like we have 8 glasses of water in a single sitting, but we could stand in a garage and have 8 beers just fine. Right?
Yes.
No issues whatsoever. And I went, that's interesting. I'll do some research on it. Did some research, found out that it had just become legal between the TTB and the FDA.
To put protein in alcohol or an
So
alcoholic drink?
a wellness product with alcohol.
Ah, yeah.
So it could be a vitamin, could be a mineral, could be protein, could be anything that is good for the body, for whatever reason, had just become legal. So I contacted a beverage formulation company, and it started as easy as this: Google how to make a drink. Well, that's not what I'm looking for because I know how to make cocktails, right? I'm in hospitality. How to make a canned drink, how to formulate, and you Google a whole bunch of different phrases.
You keep rolling with it till you get something.
Until you hit something. Google eventually, works out what it is the hell you're trying to ask. Had the conversations, landed on a company called BevSource. For example, they did Celsius back in the day.
Oh.
They did the first formulations for Celsius. Killcliff. They actually did Joe Rogan's flavor of Killcliff.
I love that spicy jalapeno. Yeah, it's great.
Right. So that was them. And so we went through the process. And again, because we were creating something new, they didn't really know what was going to happen. So I just sort of said, these are the non-negotiables. Has to have protein, 8 to 10 grams. Has to be uncarbonated. I don't want stabilizers and preservatives. It's got to be low on sugar. Go. You go work something out for me. Came up with some flavors that we should start with. And then, as stupid as it sounds, put one foot in front of the other. Went through rounds of flavor levels and profiles and sugars and different proteins. Once we worked out what we needed to do with the flavors and everything else, started doing packaging, boxes, cans, co-packer, all that sort of stuff. Putting together a first run. But then here's the big problem in everywhere. It doesn't matter. It's not just the US. This is a global thing. Alcohol's run on a 3-tiered system. So there's me as a supplier.
Mm-hmm.
There's a store. which is the end consumer for you, and then there's a person in the middle, and they're a distributor, and they
Yes.
control whether or not you get into the store. So if somebody at a distributor doesn't like your drink, they just say no.
How do you work that? Like, is that you pitching to a distributor, or is
Yeah, so
really
I
it's just
pitched to 12 and one said yes.
why are they so finicky about it though? There can't be, are there that many drinks coming out every day?
I mean, everyone thinks they're going to be the next something,
Yeah, that's true.
right? I'm going to be the next Tito's. I'm going to be the next High Noon. I'm going to be the next pick the brand.
How do you say no to vodka protein water though? Has all that stuff in it. Like, I don't know. With the health trend that is the world today right now, especially with the administration in office, with people obviously like light seltzer like drinks, not even yours isn't even seltzer, which now people are going against from. They're like, I don't like all the fizziness. I like, which I was telling you about. I like that your drink sits. When
Right.
I'm drinking it, it's not crack pop, crack pop, snap. It's I can taste the drink. I can There's really no like bite. There's none of that. It's just a smooth drink with a hint of flavor
Yep.
and it goes down smooth. It's a very refreshing drink. That's what I think that's what I told my wife. It's refreshing. I don't so can you walk me through what did they give reasoning why they say no? Do they
So
feedback or
a couple of guys did. One of them sort of said, "Look, it is really tasty. You've made something really good here, but we don't know how we'd sell it." And I was sort of like, "What do you mean you wouldn't?
in a liquor store?
Yeah, what do you mean you don't know how to sell?" I'm confused. Um, and it comes back to let's call it. Let's pick a red wine, right? We all know what Shiraz tastes like. Shiraz is Shiraz, right? It's big, it's bold, it you know does everything you need it in a wine to do. So when somebody says, "Here, I have a new Shiraz, you should give it a try," you kind of know what the wine's going to taste like. Okay, well, let's just find out what yours has notes of rather than, what I normally drink, right? Your
Yeah,
brain has something to align itself against. Same with bourbon. Bourbon's bourbon. To me, I'm not a bourbon drinker. I'm a tequila drinker. But
same.
everybody know, like, if somebody turns around to you and says, "I've got a bourbon from Kentucky," the guys are going to go, "Well, let's taste your bourbon from Kentucky. I know what bourbon from Kentucky tastes like, so let's just taste yours." With this, and sorry, I'm actually drinking one right now, so I'm pointing to
Nice.
it. With this, your brain doesn't have a thought as to what vodka protein water would taste like. But the other problem I discovered is people's thought process goes straight to thick because
Because the
whey
protein.
protein is
Yeah,
thick.
comes out gross.
But we don't use a whey protein, we use a pea protein. So it's still, as you have discovered, it's very crushable, drinks just like water. It's very satisfying. Um,
I
it's
truly went I was like, there's no way there's protein in this. And you're looking and you're like, okay, it is. It is. And then I saw that it's pea protein. And I was like, that has to be like one of the aspects because that's the biggest issue protein supplements run into is the chalkiness and I'm like, this doesn't taste like protein. Like that doesn't have that. You would
yeah.
almost believe more that it doesn't have anything than it has some type of protein. Like
So we went through
crazy.
13 months of research and development because I didn't want all those problems, right? I didn't want the chalkiness. I didn't want the, metallic
No, yeah.
aftertaste. I didn't want the, pick the protein problem. So we really took our time in finding the right protein and the right flavors and, making sure that the pasteurization was on point, and the citric and malic acid that we use is very balanced, and it I wanted to make a drink that I could have for a long time. This wasn't a cash grab for me, right? I wasn't going to just make a vodka protein water and try and get Coke to buy me out. I'm making something that I could genuinely distribute across the US. I've got the UK passport, take it to the UK. I'm Australian. My ego wants me to take it home, right? So now, don't get me wrong. If Coca-Cola turns up with a check for 50 million,
Yeah, you go. Well, I got it.
guys, it's yours. I'll see you on the flip
Hi
side.
guys.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to make a really good drink, and I'll give the pitch now that I give at tables. And when people ask me, so that the people listening or watching can know what it is. So it's mate vodka protein water, 8 grams of protein, vodka, no bubbles. We use a pea protein out of California as the protein source, so it's gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, no high fructose corn syrup, and then we do it in 4 flavors: peach, pineapple, watermelon, lime, and mint. And people love it. People are rebuying. We're a year into selling to stores. We're on track to do about 100 cases this month. The variety pack, people love it. We came out with single 4-packs first, market dictated variety packs, came out with the 8-pack variety pack. And I'm very excited for the future.
It seems like it's going in the right direction, right? Like and with your background, Chris, I don't see this going a southward way. You're doing all the right things, and you made something I've been hearing on shows, podcasts, radio. If it's very, very hard to come out with a new idea in a congested marketplace.
Yeah.
Mostly everything's been done in the world. There's a
for
lot
sure.
there's a lot of things that have already been done. Vodka protein water was not on the bingo card for 2025, but somehow you did that, and it's going to move, cuz I already see it I think it's up in Iowa now.
Yep.
Cuz I tried looking for the closest one to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's up there. It's in Rapid City, I think, or something."
Yep.
But I was like, it's obviously growing. That means it's in a right direction. Like you're doing something right. And the fact that my personal anecdote, I guess, for it, take it for what it's worth, but the drink is different than others, right? So you got Trulies, White Claws, whatever you want to list. They're either fizzy as hell or sugary as hell. And then you got beer, which beers is I would put beer different from what you're making. You're making like this.
Yeah.
It's this flavored cocktail that is healthy for you. Now, I guess I can't say that probably, but it's not terrible for you. It's good. You have to be that. You probably are the closest guy to a healthy alcoholic drink as they come.
Yeah,
I don't really know much other unless you're just mixing water and vodka, which doesn't taste good. So you have the tastiest, healthiest alcoholic drink in America right now. I'll stake that.
I'll take that. Don't worry, I'll take that all day long. Yeah, you are more than welcome to stake that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny when you try and articulate it. And that's why when we came up with vodka protein water, it's like, that's what you just have to call it every time now, right? There's no, it explains exactly what it is. It tells everybody what it is, but it also does this. And this is what I love doing tables, right? So I'll be in a liquor store. I've got my table out. I've got samples, cups, stickers, all the bits and pieces. And I have this huge 7 or 8 foot retractable sign, right? That has, actually, it's got this on it. So it's got that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, and it sort of outlines the differences between the two. And then It's got the different
Oh, the
colors and
flavors,
whatever
yeah.
else, and it breaks people's mind because they go, you do the head cock, huh? What vodka protein, and then people are like, so it's a vodka water with protein, or they do the opposite way, so it's a protein water with vodka, and they go like yourself, how does that work? Well, how about you have a taste and I'll tell you. And if I get you to taste, you buy. It's as simple as that.
I like that.
It's as simple as that. And it took me a while, but liquor stores started to believe. And now they only used to order 1 or 2 cases and sort of see how it goes. Now they'll buy 10 at a time. But that's that progression thing, right? So you have to start somewhere to be able to get to, some point down the road. And it comes back to just get started. Like, just start. So I'll tell you a fun story. I got accepted by a distributor. Well, here's the next problem you have. You need a store to bring you on. So now you have to convince somebody else to spend their money in the hope that somebody else will spend their money on the product that they've spent money on.
And it has to be in the realm of that distributor, right? It has to be
Correct.
in their
They
circle.
have to use that distributor in that area, right? So up the street, 4 minutes from my house, there's a liquor store called Vintage Cellars. It's the one I go to, owned by a couple of Indian guys. We got along really well. Australians and Indians love to talk cricket, right? So we always talk cricket. We got along well. We're always polite. Great. No problem. So I walk in there. Hey, guys. So, funny story. I've made a drink. Could you stock it? And the guy goes, look, I know you. You've been buying from us for years. You're a great guy. We'll give it a shot. And he was very open. He's like, but if it just sits on our floor and doesn't move, we can't really bring it back. I said, totally understand.
Fair enough.
All I need is one store to begin with. So they bring it in, doesn't even go on a shelf, sits on the floor because they don't know what it's going to do, right? They're not going to make shelf space, but they're bringing an extra product on for me, right? And I will love them forever for it. Goes on the floor. Sells out that weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm traveling to Australia at this point, right? So it's not me buying my own product to try and buy them out. It's other people.
Yeah.
The next week rolls around. They're like, okay, well, we sold the cases. We'll get in 4 more. Sells out again. Same weekend. 3rd week rolls around. Buys another 4 cases. Sells out again. And I've got people texting me going, can you tell this guy to buy more? Because when I get here, it's gone. I'm like, you tell him. You're the buying customer.
Yeah.
So sure enough, the following week, he bought 2 cases of each flavor. Ended up selling about 1.5 cases, so he didn't sell out. But we're still in that store, right? They just ordered another. I think I saw it yesterday on the thing. I think they bought another 8 cases. And it that's what it takes, right?
But that's 8 cases a week, right? That's what they're buying?
Right.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to be a good feeling. That's got to be a good feeling.
It
to
never
see
gets
the end
old.
result. Yeah.
It never gets old. When I see people buy it, when I see, if we're in a restaurant or a bar and they've got it there, or I'm in a store. So I was in a Total Wine last year around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. And this guy walks in, he's got his phone, and I kind of look like I work at Total Wine because I'm at the front, I'm doing a table, I'm polite, I greet people, right? I know the store layout, so I don't mind, sort of directing people. It's that hospitality thing, it's that service thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the guy walks up to me, he's like, hey, I'm looking for this. And he shows my product as a screenshot on his phone. And he hasn't really clicked on that he's talking to the guy with a table full of it. And I go, are you looking for this? And he goes, I am. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So it means his daughter's taken a screenshot and has been like, can you get this at the liquor store
Oh,
for me for when I come home?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's stuff like that, right? I was in the other Total Wine in Alpharetta. These two girls walk up to me, mum and daughter, and they go, we're here for you. And I'm like, me personally, or what are we doing here? And she's like,
I'm a
no.
married man.
Right. She's like, no, a friend of mine texted me, I've got to get this drink. And I only knew it was like a vodka protein thing. And we're walking down to the RTDs and here you are. And I'm like, I can tell you all about it. So stuff like that, when you talk about the struggles of the day to day, stuff like that fuels your ego and your desire and your motivation and your drive to keep going. Right? It
Yeah.
was when you reached out to me and said, hey, be cool to have you on. When someone like me is like, yeah, straight away, man, let's do it, right? Give me your address. Here, have some product, grab a couple of stickers. It makes you feel good because people want to spend their time to chat with you.
Yeah. And yeah, I've had it like the opposite way too, where that's a great explanation of it, because I've had it where you tell other people, you go, would you like to be on the show? And they go, I don't think I have a good story. And I was like, well, it doesn't hurt to tell it, And they come on and you go, we just had a great talk.
Right.
Like, how can you be? And they were like, I'm so happy. And then they get traction from it, it's both ways, right? I love that. That did pump me up. It pumped me up a lot.
Yeah,
When
it
you were
feels
like,
good to feel
yeah,
wanted, right? And to
wanted,
feel
right? It's not bad to embrace that. It's bad to overindulge, sure.
sure.
But to feel wanted from people you admire, especially, or you find interest in, that is not a bad thing every now and then. It's
Right.
great.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, man, we're focused on expansion right now. We're focused on, we've got a new co-packer in Colorado. We're getting the licensing down for some of these bigger states, California, Texas. Um, I'm in Iowa, like you said. I love the Midwest. My father-in-law lives there. My wife's from there. That's why we're in Iowa, right? That's why it's kind of the random state off to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there are harder
Florida.
laws out here too. There's a lot harder laws in that Bible Belt.
Yes,
You
there
know.
are. Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing some online sale capabilities, which I
I
think will
went
be really good.
I went a week ago. I was like, I'll just order another 8. And I go on there and I'm like, I can't do it.
You can't do it yet. No.
No.
So again, America being America, there are states that won't let you ship alcohol across through,
Even through.
even through. So
Ooh.
you have to be licensed in a whole bunch of them sort of around, so that depending on where it's being shipped to depends on where the order goes to be fulfilled to then be shipped across. So the big states are California, Texas, Illinois, and DC. So you've got to be licensed in those states, because from those states you can get to everywhere else without breaking any laws.
Nice.
So convoluted but ridiculous. But
Very, yeah.
that's our big push next.
Yeah.
And then obviously a whole bunch of the states, other states, and then we really want to solidify in the market. Start the big marketing drives and that sort of thing as well. So
Yeah. Well, are you looking at, would you like to establish in the US and then branch out, or are you looking at opportunities for like going to UK, Australia, those other places?
so if people reach out, right, if they want to be a part of it, yeah, I'm all for it. Right, I don't need to specifically be in every state here to be in the UK. If somebody comes over to the US, has the drink here, lives in the UK, and has got the money, great, let's do something together, right? Um, so I wouldn't say it's US centric only, but my focus is the US, because there's so much opportunity here as long as you've got the drive and the hustle behind you. You've got to have that behind you.
You have to keep going.
You've just
That's
got
the
to keep
hard
going.
part too. You have to keep going.
Right.
Like you got to have the drive and the hustle, but also the endurance of like,
You got to
you,
eat shit for a while.
yes,
Yeah.
grab a fork. It's gonna get bad. You got to keep going though. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to eat shit for a while, but it gets better. So yeah, we're gonna focus on America for a minute. I've got some partners that are looking to come on. There's a group that are looking at putting a bunch of Australian drinks sort of together as a group,
Hmm.
to sort of maximize, can purchasing and packaging and co-packing facilities and that sort of thing here in the US. Um, so I think we're having some really good conversations now, probably sooner rather than later. Um, so I mean, I'm excited for 2025. I'm super excited for 2026. Like yeah, super
Oh,
excited for 2026.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Chris, this was an awesome dive of not only I learned like 3 different things about you that I'm like, holy shit. But we got to really go down with mate, understanding what it's going for and what it's doing and I have faith that it's going to grow. It's going to grow big. It's
Thank
going to
you.
be awesome, man, cuz you have the drive obviously through what you talked about. You show your initiative, your drive and everything, and I think that's awesome. Um can you tell everyone, can you give an expected date of like online when you're
Yeah.
trying to get that out?
So what are we in
I know
now?
you
We're in
talked about it's
May.
hard, but
So June, July. It takes about a month to onboard. So I would say mid July. I would say probably mid
oh,
July.
nice.
Um,
This will probably come out pretty close then, so that's not too bad. Yeah.
yeah. So I would say sort of sometime in mid July, if not the start of August. In fact, it'll probably be the start of August. I go home to Australia. My mother's turning 60. So I'm going home for 10 days to, you know, hang out at home, right? Spend some time with the fam.
Yeah. Nice.
Um, so yeah, I will probably pretty much right at the start of August, I would say, online. Now, having said that, though, for someone like you just need to shoot me a text and we can do a little Venmo number to get another
That's
variety
right.
pack too. We can do that one. I think that
That's
one's
right.
okay.
I was gonna do that. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna do that or not because I'm
Yeah,
like,
mate, I'm happy to do it.
but what states are you selling in right now? I know you said Iowa. I know Georgia. What
Yeah,
else
so
you
we've
got?
got Georgia, Iowa, Florida. We do special orders for North Carolina, New Jersey. We've just been licensed in New York. The other licensed states we've got are California, Texas, um, Pennsylvania, and DC. We're not distributing in those states yet. We're just getting set up in those states for the online sales. We're then looking at doing Colorado, Arizona, Nevada. Um, I'm going to look at a couple more Midwestern states. Um, my wife comes from a big family. We've got lots of people, and they're all based in the Midwest. So I want to do another couple of sort of in the middle there states,
Yeah.
um, and then I'll really focus on those. I think we've got the licensing down. We'll have everything down, distribution wise and online and that sort of thing. And then once once we're doing a couple of hundred cases a month in each state, then I'll grow from there. We've got a lot of colleges that are very interested in that sort of thing. The Australians are starting to take over American college football because they're incredible punters and kickers. So we want to do a bunch of stuff with those guys. But yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait for it, man. That's awesome. Guys, if you're in those states or, here in a couple months, grab yourself some mate cuz it's gooder for you. That's a word.
It is a word. It's
And
true. Yeah.
And if anything else, it's freaking delicious. It's awesome, and you don't feel guilty about drinking it. Like that is it outstanding, Chris. Thank you for your time. Thank you
No,
for your
thank you,
information, and thank you for coming on here.
mate. Absolutely. I wish you all the best with the podcast, and let's do this again in a year's time and see where we're at.
Absolutely. Please don't forget me when you're dealing with Coke. You know, when Coca-Cola comes with you, just go, hey, Ben, we got to talk again. Okay. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. And
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys, for listening. We'll see you next time.